Why have you applied for this position?
When I joined UCL, I ran in autumn elections and I was elected Secretary and Communications Officer for the Postgraduate Association and Faculty Representative for Social Historical Sciences, which is my faculty. And I have been to every PGA forum meeting and Union Council meetings, and I've just gotten really involved in the campaigns that then the current postgrad officer was running for postgrads. And I've seen what works and what doesn't work, what are the aspects of the PGA that people were quite happy about and what they weren't. And I thought that I really would like to go and do it myself and just use the knowledge that I've acquired and like making it the best possible for next year.
As this is the first year so far of a full-time, solely postgraduate students officer, do you think the position has proved itself worth having a separate officer from the medical part of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not really sure what the medical officer has been up to exactly because I'm not a medic student, but I think that Ben has done a great job in like getting people together, especially like with the TA's campaign. He started that going and getting departments to organize within themselves to ask for fair pay. And actually, the welfare representative for postgraduate research has already managed to get some very good progress going on in his department, which is history of art. And we had like forum meetings with other TAs who want to organize this within their departments, and I think that just from achieving like better pay for students, it's already like made the role worthwhile. And also I feel like the PGA has been quite well organized. We had like some really good events. I don't think that the engagement level has been as good as it could be, but I think that Ben was just like trying it out because it was his first year, and now like we can see things that work better or things that don't and just apply them again for next year.
And how do you plan to increase the involvement, as in how do you plan to like engage people more in the PGA?
The main thing is getting more liberation officers in. This year we had LGBT rep, but we didn't have it from any other liberation campaigns. And also maybe getting more society involvement. I think if we get societies which already have many members to advertise our events and just tell them that the campaigns that we're running, it will be like better to get people involved, because some people don't even like know that there is a postgraduate association. They're more like aware of the notion that there are societies. So if we advertise the associations to these societies, then maybe like more people will know about it and come to the event and get engaged more. And also I really want to make lots of events and events that sound appealing to everyone, so that people will actually have reasons to come and join.
Along a similar vein, would you do anything about the way that the PGA is actually run at the moment? Because obviously like your position that you're applying for is quite new. Would you change anything in that sort of part of it as it develops?
Do you mean in the structure?
As in the structure, the way that it's run, like things besides, I suppose, getting like having a more like, you talk about a diverse social calendar, that here like things besides simply just getting more people involved.
I think that getting more people involved is pretty key, because like we're meant to have faculty representatives from postgrad, taught and research for every faculty, and I don't think this happened this year, and it will be important to have that, to have more contributions, because I think it's all about organizing. If we have more people, then we can organize better and actually achieve what we want to achieve. I don't know if there would be a point in like changing the structure before like actually getting more people to engage. I think that's the main point.
Okay, I was right, it was a pointless question for me to have asked.
Are you a first year master's student at UCL? Is this your first year at UCL basically?
Yeah.
So do you think you have the experience to campaign for PGTAs? I mean, what makes you think you're qualified to kind of lead that kind of campaign and that kind of, how do you know the system well enough?
I've actually, like this is my first year in UCL, but I was in Manchester before here, so I do know like the UK system and how it works. I wasn't involved in exactly the union in Manchester, but I was involved in the LGBT society and running campaigns there. We did campaigns for like gender neutral toilets, and now if you go to the UCL union, there are gender neutral toilets there, which was like quite a good achievement. And even though I'm not a research student, so I wouldn't say that I have the experience that they do, by knowing that, I feel like I can make more of an effort to talk to them and actually get their views put into the decision-making process. And I have attended all the organizing meetings for the PGTA campaigns that have already happened, and I was the one like taking the minutes and writing everything down, so I feel like I got like what everyone had to say, and like I wrote it up and I messaged everyone about it with the actual minutes from our meeting. So I feel like I can manage by talking basically to people who are TAs and listening to their experiences and just like passing that on to other people and trying to get more people to engage. Ultimately, the fact that I'm not a research student does not mean that I cannot like still fight for their best interests if I'm open and like listen to them and take that in.
So the first thing in your manifesto is that you talk about improved learning conditions. And at the top of that is the better timetabling system, where you've said you'd want people to prefer to like pick when they want to do seminars and lectures.
Yeah.
Do you think that's realistic?
Definitely. Like, I've had an 8 a.m. lecture throughout my entire degree on a Monday, and it's been horrible. And like, maybe not like full flexibility, that would be like quite unrealistic, but expecting to like not having 8 a.m.s, not having like, I have some seminars which I can't even choose every week. I have for the entire semester, I need to choose week by week. I could work on stopping that so that people can actually plan around part-time work or travel, because some people live quite far, and having 8 a.m.s is really impractical, especially if you're a master's student and you're only here for a year. It's a really bad experience to actually like not even be able to choose optimal timing. Like things like my lecture could be at 8 or 11, but instead of letting you choose, they just allocated you, and I feel like if I get enough people to complain about it, I can form a campaign and actually go to like staff and managers to change that.
Okay. Then you also say that you want more library resources. Where and in what sense?
More library resources, I mean both in terms of like more core textbooks in the library, which is something that lots of people have actually complained to me about as like being the faculty rep, and lots of my lecturers actually said they're already pushing for it, so I could just try and like go along with that and help them in whatever they need. And also more actually study space for postgrads. The graduate hub is good, but it's not that big, and I feel like lots of people only have their own common rooms or not even a common room, so just campaign for whenever possible, like maybe work alongside the education officer to try to get more postgrad learning space.
Quite often there's a problem that postgrads don't get involved in societies and the community as well as undergrads do. Would you be working to, I mean, you mentioned here you want to get societies involved, so would you be encouraging your members of the Postgrad Association or just postgrads in general to get much more involved with the union, the societies, etc.?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know it's tricky, so, like if you're a master's student, you're only here for a year, but I think that's why you need to make it count. And if you're a PhD or a research student, it's usually a problem with like isolation, where they are focused on their own research, or they don't necessarily have classes or seminars, so it's harder to meet people and talk to people. That's one of the reasons I think it's really important to have an open and accessible postgraduate association, so that even if they don't get that from their own departments as much, they can still go to the PGA and meet people and still have like the social interactions that you should be having in university.
You also say you believe in free education and you want to campaign nationally for free education. So is that with the National Union of Students? Would you like to emulate Bent House and go to the NUS conference, the spring conference? Or how would you expect to work with unions across the country to achieve that?
I believe that education is a social good, and it benefits everyone that it's free, in the way that if we get one person to be educated, and those are like our future doctors, our future dentists, our future economists, and in a way everyone should have access to it. Just not having enough money should not be like a good enough reason for someone who wants education to not be educated. So I'll like pass that on, and yeah, I would be willing to go to the National Union of Students and campaign there but I also think that campaigning for more scholarships and bursaries is important because you can still increase accessibility by allowing funding for more people rather than just campaigning for free education. It's important to campaign for both, and if ideally if you get enough scholarships and bursaries and stipends for people to not just their fees but have enough money to live in while they're studying, the end goal will be free, fully funded education by the government.